there are just some things that don't belong on the silver screen. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 video games that should never be adapted to film. Are you a fan of this video? Be sure to subscribe to catch our latest show, The Bolt to E3. 4 gamers take an epic road trip from San Fran to LA, gaming all the way. Coming soon to WatchMojo. For this list, we'll be looking at the video games that should not be given the Hollywood treatment, including those that are supposedly scheduled to be filmed at some point in the future. Okay, so here's the thing. We've done lists about games that should be adapted to film, and some of the entries you're gonna see here were on those lists. But we had huge arguments in the office as to why those wouldn't work. In the end, those were suggestions by our audience, and we decided to make the lists. But for now, those of us who were in disagreement about film adaptations finally get to make our case as to why these movies would be a terrible, awful idea. Number 10, Super Mario Bros. Series. Hey, they tried it once, and it turned out to be one of the worst films of all time. We think that's a pretty big warning sign that the plumber from the Mushroom Kingdom shouldn't be anywhere near a video camera. He might be the obvious choice if a studio decided they wanted to try their hand at a Nintendo cinematic universe, but Mario has always been about crazy and charming level designs and kicking the crap out of Bowser, all involving very little dialogue. Throw it on the big screen, and chances are this would be a CGI-filled mess about a stereotypically Italian dude trying to save a hapless damsel from a fire-breathing dinosaur. Kinda shallow and definitely done before. Number 9, The Elder Scrolls series.
Come up to your Vasker, if you're worth anything in a fight.
If you need an example of why a lore-filled fantasy world like Tamriel would fail, then you need to look no further than what happened with Warcraft. You could have the most dedicated director and writers on board, but there's simply too much to be contained within a single flick. And where would you begin? Go straight into Skyrim? Okay, but that would still involve giving exposition on the history, various races, numerous factions, and that's even before they figured out how to give a unique personality to the Dragonborn, if there was a Dragonborn in this film. As much as we'd like to see a live-action version, The Elder Scrolls is simply too vast and too derivative of other fantasy to even bother. Number 8, Metroid series. Samus became an icon of gaming for a variety of reasons. First and foremost, being a badass female character who was all about single-handedly taking down space pirates and saving the galaxy without really saying a word. You might be able to throw enough money at it to create some epic fight scenes against the likes of Ridley and Mother Brain, but it's almost guaranteed that they would mess up when it comes to Samus herself. Heck, even Nintendo tried to go into a little depth with her character, and the result was Other M. That kind of speaks for itself, doesn't it?
Life, no matter what form it takes as it's born into this often cruel universe, should not be tampered with.
Number 7, Metal Gear Solid series.
Head for the rendezvous point. I've placed a mark on the radar in the upper right corner of the solid eye.
So this one is apparently actually happening, and we don't exactly have high hopes for it. First of all, Snake's bread and butter is immersive stealth section. It's something that's real hard to create in a live-action movie without making it seem silly. Then you have the immense amount of backstory regarding Snake and Big Boss, followed by an entire lecture's worth of information regarding how real-life history plays a part in the narrative. However, the biggest reason why we have no hope for an adaptation is the fact that Hideo Kojima is no longer attached to the Metal Gear Solid property. Without his input, there's no way any film could do this beloved game series justice, and with his input, it would probably be confusing as hell.
The PF at Ditati Abandoned Village has been supplied with walker gears. Your job is to eliminate them all.
Number 6, Portal series.
And it's not out of the question that you might have a very minor case of serious brain damage. But don't be alarmed, all right?
Above all else, this series has always been about the various puzzles that players are presented with. It's a constant game of trial and error, with the portal gun providing a brilliant mechanic that keeps things fresh. But if you put that into cinematic form, then you run the risk of making the tests come off as mundane or just plain boring, since you have one silent woman on screen moving from room to room for 60 minutes maybe? Even if they pulled out all the stops and brought back Ellen McLean to voice GLaDOS, we really don't think there's enough meat here to stop a movie adaptation from falling flat.
This place is self-destructing, you idiot.
Was self-destructing, already fixed.
Number 5, Kingdom Hearts series.
'Cause Maleficent's gonna help me conquer him.
Maleficent? Huh.
In all honesty, this might just be downright impossible. Even if Disney pretty much controls everything, you're still gonna have a rather difficult time trying to tell the story of Sora and his battle against the Heartless while you're trying to cram in as many Disney icons as possible. Say you do somehow figure out a way to get every licensed character and their respective actors all in one place. Not only would visiting each world seem kinda jarring, but you're gonna have a lot of confused Disney fans who wonder why Cloud Strife, Mulan, and Donald Duck are all sharing the screen together. Not to mention bringing audiences up to speed on the convoluted storyline.
Beware the darkness in your heart. The heartless prey upon it.
Number 4, Grand Theft Auto series.
He's gonna help us with the fight against crime. Right, Carl?
Yeah, by any means necessary.
Whether it's for the gripping story or losing yourself in the numerous side activities, what this particular franchise has going for it is that there's just so much content that you can spend hours upon hours messing around and still have a blast. Still, you take away the gameplay, and there's nothing really substantial in the series to differentiate an adaptation from your average crime action film. I mean, so many scenes and sequences in these games are ripped right out of movies that we have a whole list dedicated to those. Seriously, this would be like translating something into Japanese and then translating it back and then calling it new.
What? Mother! It ain't over, Carl. It ain't over.
Number 3, The Legend of Zelda series. We're aware that many gamers would love to see this series on the silver screen, but let's not pretend to be blind to all the things that would go wrong with a film adaptation. The biggest issue, of course, is the concern of turning Link into a generic hero with a wooden personality.
Excuse me, princess.
But there's also the concern of misinterpreting Zelda as a feeble princess, turning Navi into crappy comic relief, ignoring the beauty of Hyrule, terribly forced dialogue, and finally totally bastardizing the villainy of Ganondorf. And come on, that's just the start of all our concerns.
Tell me the truth. How proficient are you right now wielding that sword on your back?
Number 2, Monster Hunter series. You know Paul W.S. Anderson, the man who inflicted us with those terrible Resident Evil films? Well, now he has Monster Hunter in his sights as his next big adaptation, and already it sounds terrible. In an interview with Deadline, Anderson said he wants the story to focus on a normal American who gets pulled into the Monster Hunter parallel universe, and eventually the monsters will invade our world to wreak havoc. Okay, stop right there. First of all, that's technically what the Smurfs movie is. Second, no, just no. Why do you need to include parallel universes? Monster Hunter already has rich lore on its own. Incorporating our world into the film with an American dude is just lazy and stupid, and come on. Number 1, Tetris. Threshold Entertainment is making this game into a film trilogy. We wish we were making this shit up. The video game, all about assembling falling blocks, is going to be turned into 3 films with a multi-million-dollar budget. We honestly don't have words for how bad that sounds. Who is asking for this? How could you possibly make this interesting? How do studios see this becoming the next sci-fi franchise that will blow our minds? Then again, consider that Larry Kasanoff, the guy who brought us Food Fight, is heading this project, and we probably know what to expect from this outcome.
Tetris is the #1 best-selling video game in history. If you have a worldwide phenomenon, you got 2 advantages. Everyone knows it, and everyone likes it.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo, and subscribe for new videos every day.